even though this is relatively new for me, I still believe I can talk about this, so who the fuck cares? Hi, my name is Milan. I share my lessons here on YouTube, and today we're going to discuss how to balance your work and the gym. Specifically, how to have enough energy after your work for the gym. And without further ado, let's begin. And we're recording. Okay, everything's normal. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is my story. So, when I was younger, everybody was getting their first job. So, 14, 15, 16, everybody's getting a job during the summer to, increase their finances for the next year and for the next few months. Specifically, when school's starting, you want to have money for yourself, right? I was never into that. I was always the guy who wanted to be a YouTuber and who wanted to read books every single day, just go to the gym and so on. And I didn't really do anything productive when it comes to work up until the age of 17, maybe 18. And now we've come to a point where I'm getting my first job, or I've actually gotten my first job at a moving company. I will say here that I've worked some jobs when I was younger, but they were mostly gigs. They weren't real jobs like this what I'm doing right now. So what I wanted to talk about in this video is how do you actually balance working for 7, 8, 10 hours and then going to a gym after that. It seems like a very difficult concept, but it's the reality for most people. So here's the thing. What I figured out and what the wisdom of other people has actually told me is that physical jobs are much easier when it comes to fatigue than mental jobs. We can imagine a spectrum here. So this is jobs that are mostly mentally fatiguing, or we'll just say mental work. Being the president, being a lawyer, being a doctor, for the majority of situations, public speaking, and anything that mentally drains you after you complete the task. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, we have physical work, construction, security, and this what I'm doing right now, being a guy who works at a moving company. And so what I've actually decided when it comes to this is to just focus on this physical work, because if I wanted right now to find some job that's technically connected to my field, because I'm studying law at the moment, I can technically work at a law office for 12 hours every single day and have the same pay as the guy who works construction. In my opinion, that doesn't really make sense, since being a lawyer is much more mentally draining than working security at some company. That's my opinion, at least, but that's what a lot of people actually think. So if you were, let's say, a dentist and you worked for 10 hours every single day, you'd be fucked by the end of that session. You couldn't even imagine, you can't fathom going to the gym after that. Now, me, myself, a guy who doesn't technically work 8 hours, okay, I work less. I work 6 to 7 hours the majority of days. And to be honest, after my work session, I feel empowered. I don't feel drained after my work. And that's how I actually go to the gym, not right after my work, but a few hours later, which isn't really a big problem, since this, my work and piano, is basically what I do in my life right now. So what I wanted to say here in this section, if you can find some physically difficult job that most people aren't really willing to do and that pays well. Now, for that, you actually have to be physically strong, which in my opinion is the big advantage here, since you actually, if you're watching this channel at least, since you're actually going to a gym, getting stronger every single day. And me, a guy who did deadlifts for a very long time, a guy who does squats, bench press, and so on, a guy that focuses on those big lifts and has a physical job that's kind of the best of both worlds, since I can use that physical strength that I have inside of my job and make my job much more fun and easy as well. I don't look at the work that I do as work. I kind of look at it as cardio, to be honest. Like, yeah, I hold heavy objects. I put things from one location to another and so on. When I look at those things that I do every single day, I don't see it as work. I honestly see it as a chore, an activity, and maybe cardio, to be honest. And the fact is, I'm recording this video right now after my work and after my gym session, so that technically tells something about my story here. Or you can draw the conclusion here that I actually have enough energy to make this video. And I know this is totally unrelated to the video, but when I think of my future, if I actually want to be a lawyer or not, when I think about it, it's kind of difficult to say, since okay, I'll have the bigger pay and so on and so on. I'll be a prestigious lawyer. But bro, I would work double time, to be honest. I would be much more stressed and I'd have more money. Now, the question is that really worth it? The answer is probably no, since I can literally just make YouTube videos and coach people here, and that's basically it. By the way, whilst we're on this, if you want to get coached by me, first link in the description is my Instagram. Message me there and we'll set something up. So, what's the conclusion of everything that I've actually mentioned here? Get a job that isn't too mentally fatiguing, but also makes you a lot of money. That's the whole premise of this video. Now, I actually enjoy working for a moving company. That's another factor as well that I didn't really talk about. I could be a dentist and work for 10 hours every single day, but if I actually enjoy that, at the end of my work session, I wouldn't really feel as drained as, for example, if I did something that I really don't like being a professor. I can't imagine myself doing that ever. Like, even if you paid me $5,000 to $10,000 every single month, I'd still consider it, because it's something that I really, really, really do not want to do. And by the way, I want to mention here, when I actually did my first quote-unquote session at my work, it was a 7-hour shift, I believe, or a 6-hour. It doesn't really matter here. I actually went to the gym after that. It was 38 or 39 degrees that day, so it was very hot. I didn't really work in perfect conditions. It wasn't the perfect situation where I actually slept a lot and the weather was actually really nice that day. No, it wasn't a perfect condition, but still I went to the gym and the first exercise really didn't work for me. Like, I felt kind of mentally fatigued, but after that, the second, the third, and the fourth exercise, I really just felt normal, to be honest. And today I worked as well. After work, I went to the gym. I felt normal. I had a normal training session. Now, I wasn't, peak strength. I didn't do 120 kilogram bench press 4 reps and so on. But still, it was a good training session. I went to failure on most sets and I feel great. So the point of this video is, you have to love what you're doing right now and find a job that's not mentally draining you and mentally fatiguing you unnecessarily. It may be a physical job, who knows? Me, myself, a physical job is actually something that I really needed, since I get money from that and also it doesn't mentally drain me. But still, the main premise of the video is, technically the conclusion of the video is, find something that you actually enjoy doing and don't do it for a very, very long period. That's something that's also important, and I'm leaving this for the end of the video. If you work as, let's say, a social media creator, you really love creating videos, but I told you, yeah, you have to do that for 12 hours every single day. You'd be like, nah, man, just give me a normal job. I don't want to record videos for 12 hours every single day. That's really, really difficult. that makes sense because it's mentally draining to record videos for 12 hours. Well, to be honest, this video right now, raw, is 14 minutes, and I already feel kind of mentally fatigued after making it. So that tells you a story. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you want to, you can watch this video right here, and I'd highly appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel here. If you want private coaching, the first link is in the description. And as always, see you at the top.